What's up? It's your boy Roy and it's your boy Will back for another episode of Too Smooth Podcast. Today we'll be talking about white privilege and what role that plays in America and what role that has played in Will and ours lives being young black males in today's society. Say what's up to the people, Will.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
So, well, when you think about white privilege, what do you think about?
I just think about white people having more of an advantage than I would as a black person.
Yeah. What are some specific advantages that you like come to mind when you think about that?
Anything, job opportunities, like.
Have you had any like specific examples of that like happening to you and you were aware of it?
No, that's never happened to me.
Personally?
Yeah, no, I've seen it though.
For sure. Yeah, I think that sometimes like I think even myself in some of the various positions I've been in where I'm in predominantly like white areas and even like leaning amongst white people, that sometimes that people have like view me as incompetent because for the most part, like how I am, like I'm a nice chill guy, like a lot of people get along with, and like yeah. I'm funny, and like I don't know if that's been a negative connotation for me, like as a leader sometimes, and sometimes in those white environments people are kind of like, oh well, Roy will never really lead, or he's not serious, when actually I've never shown them in a work setting or as far as like doing work like a not serious side or an ability to like do my job, or like being aware of that and being present in that. So it's like, what is the reason for you guys to think that I can't do my job?
I'm doing everything.
Yeah, like, so
but because I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm like, I have to think like, is it because I'm black? Like I don't like. I'm like, is it because I'm black? Like I haven't. I was like, I haven't really showed you a boner. It's like, oh, Roy doesn't want to do work, or Roy's not gonna do his work. Like you've never known that to be me. So I don't know why you don't think I could be a good leader. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, those are just instances where I'm like, I don't know why. Like I've never shown that, so I don't get why that's the connotation by other predominantly white people in that situation.
Yeah.
How do you know people in your life that has used their white privilege for your own advantage?
Like, I was with some white people. And
basically, you're right. Like them just like help you in any way. Like them being a white person, do you think that has helped you as a human being?
I mean, maybe with school, you will see like a white student counselor like not take no for a reason, or an answer.
Right.
You just don't. As a black person, I just don't think I would do that. But
think you would do what? I'm sorry.
Like
not give up on a student?
No, like try to fight the system so hard.
Right. To like advocate for you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting because like for sure like generations have changed, because like even just talking with a lot of people, like I was talking to a coworker of mine last night who we work for the city of St. Paul. I'm gonna just keep it brief, but we work for the city of St. Paul, and we have a lot of, she's an older black woman, and we have a lot of colleagues who are like older black men, or older white men, who are kind of like predominantly they're running the things, and she's like, oh, I don't like them, and they've done this and this to me, and I'm like, these people are actually great. Like I was like, these people are some of my like good people to know in the city, and they've done good things for me, and they've been good resources for me. and different things. So I think it's interesting to see how different people use different like other people for their own advantage in the white privilege world, because I think that she definitely has a buddy in our system that she uses that she's like clicked well with, but it's just not the other people that I've connected with. So like I'm sitting there like, oh, you don't like X, Y, and Z. I'm like, they're actually really cool, but for her own reasons, they haven't served the same purpose in her life. So there's some differences that she's had, but I could count multiple people that has like influenced the way that people looked and view. I honestly, and I don't know how many people will like this, like, and I'll go on record and say this, like, even at my own university, like, not that many people are, like, I guess if you're not, like, if you're not too involved, or not the right people know of you or know you, not the people who are, like, in, how do I explain this? In, like, a power position, like, student-wise, like, who are, like, the people who are navigating like everything, the people who know everyone, the people, the most like popular people, they're not gonna be like super open to like coming and meet you and talk to you and go like that. That's just the way it was. So I think that even for myself, like when I first came to the university, my first like close friend was our president, Scott Hagan, and he got to know me deeply. And then after that, like he started like putting the word out there and talking to me because he got to know me as an individual. Not only then, everyone started trying to reach out to me. So it took like, it seemed like it took like him using his white privilege to be like, hey, he's a okay guy. Like he's a stand-up person. For everyone to come around, and now everyone's like, oh, Roy this, we love Roy. And then they got to know me for myself. But like, it was like, it was just crazy. Like I've heard things about my first year when I was applying to work at the university as an RA. I was a commuter that year, so like apparently that was the biggest thing in the world that I didn't live on the campus the previous year. And this is by students, not even the faculty. Like these are students who thinks this. And then, like, again, it wasn't until more and more, like, white people of authority or white people of authority at our university like, oh, Roy's a good guy. Roy actually does this and this. And then for everyone to be like, oh, no, I actually get to Roy and see him for myself. Instead of just, like, giving me the proper respect I have. Because, again, at these times, I never shown them anything else but different. Like, I was always in class. Like, I always went to chapel. I was a basketball player. I was never involved in any like scandals and stuff like that. So it was like I didn't give them a reason to think otherwise, but it took other, again, people that have their privilege to use that for my advantage to build me up, to build me where I am at now.
No, I definitely feel that.
Tell the people about that time when we went to the mall and we were racially profiled.
Dang, I don't even really remember that story for real.
Okay, I remember it. So we were rolling up to the Egan Outlet Mall. Obviously, it's in Egan, Minnesota, and I remember it so distinctively because it was just like it was mind-boggling. So we pull up to the Egan Outlet Center. We are 17 to 18 years old. I was 17. He's 18. We just graduated. We had just graduated high school from Henry Sibley. Shout out to them. And we were, like I said, we were doing pretty well. Like we graduated. We were in college. We were both going to play basketball at the same college, Itasca. Shout out to them. Shout out to Coach Shannon. And like I said, we were good. Like we never done anything. We never had any run-ins with the cops. We weren't like bad with our parents. Like we were just good regular man. So it's
cool.
like, so we, like I said, we're pulling up. I'm driving to Egan, and I literally remember seeing the woman out the corner of my eye as I'm pulling up to the mall, talking to security already as it is. So I'm just at this point observing my like surroundings. I'm not thinking that this would have anything to do with me, which it should not have. So after this, we park the car, we get out, we go to the Nike store. Everything's perfectly fine. Like, we're just in the Nike store looking. I don't think we ended up getting anything, or I didn't see anything I liked. We walked across to my favorite store, the Tommy Hilfiger store at the time. And
then I think we went to Polo.
Yep, and then we went to Polo. So when we were in Tommy, I bought stuff in Tommy. So it was like, that, like I said, that, and I probably bought a lot of stuff because I really like Tommy. And while we were in there, like I said, we were in there for a while because we were shopping, and we were, apparently they said that we were dancing in there at some point in time, which again, this should not have mattered, but this happened. This was on record. So
but this is but they said that after they like pulled us to the side.
Right, I'm just saying.
And they were saying like they thought I had stole the phone.
Yeah, they thought we both stole it, and we were just like, huh? Because at this time, we, like I said, we went from the Nike store to the Tommy store to the Polo, the Ralph Lauren store, and like we're literally just shopping. Like, we weren't even window shopping or anything. Like, again, we didn't give anybody real reasons to suspect that we allegedly stole a phone. So after we're done, even actually while we were in the Polo store, like I remember a cop coming in there, and then he just walked back out. And these are cops, actually, by the way, when the story is told. So we finish shopping, and we walk out of the Polo store, and we get to about midway between the Polo store and the Tommy store, because they're across like the little walkway from each other in Deegan outlets. So cop comes up to him, he's like, all right, guys, where's the phone? And me and Will are like, huh?
Like, what are you talking about?
The phone. He's like, the phone. What'd you guys do with the phone? We're like, what phone are you talking about? I was like, I was like, we have our phones. We have our, what do you mean? We had, and like, again, at the times we had like
iPhone.
All right, we both had iPhones.
Too.
Yeah, like we didn't need, I was like, why would I steal someone's iPhone? Well, if you guys don't have it on you, where'd you guys throw them? Huh?
And then he like pointed to the bush, like, did y'all point or throw it behind there or like stuff it in there? And we was just like so confused, like.
And I'm like, huh? I'm like, a phone? He's like, yeah, we know you guys had it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, why would we have a phone? We don't have any phone. So then we're like, that should have been good enough to where like we can leave, because again, we have no phone. We haven't been by anyone else's phone or anything. So like, I literally don't get on what basis they tried to bring us, because again, if you think about what I said a couple minutes ago, when we drove up, it was the same woman who was talking to the security guard who had her phone stolen by the time we had already pulled there. So this means this already occurred before we got there. And it seemed like they were just like, these are the two prime suspects. And it's like, okay, did she say she saw two black males and she thought she did it? Or was it just like, these are the most people who probably did it? And it's like, all right. So then we're sitting there and they're like, yeah, give us your name and your ID and everything. You guys are suspects. And I'm sitting there like, I'm a young kid at the time. So I'm like, no, I'm not giving it to you. I didn't do anything.
I gave them my stuff.
And then next thing we notice, we turn around and it's 7 police officers there. And there was like 5 alone talking to me because I didn't want to give them my ID. But I was like, there's no real reason to. And I was like, yeah, there was literally no reason to. I was like, this is all speculation. There was no basis. Like, there was no foundation. Like, it looked like they were just trying to throw things out there and see if it stuck with us. Like, no. Literally. It was
literally, like, when he said he saw us in the store dancing and stuff.
Yeah, like, he randomly said, he was like, yeah, we saw you guys in Tommy Hilfiger dancing. And I was like, objection, you're on irrelevance. Like, what does that have to do with anything? So I was like, the whole thing was just like super weird. And it's like, at the time, we're like, who's the guy who got like Philando Castile? Like it was around like that time, and Eric Garner, all these different things. So it's like to go from like watching that and not being like in super activist about it, just like wow, like that's sad that those things happen. To having it something similar happen to you like that, obviously not nearly as fatal, but just like the police injustice in itself. Not saying that our case was that extreme because it wasn't, but just to have them like really sit there and you guys should have seen the look on his face. Like he literally just knew that we stole this phone. Like there was no like ifs, ands, and buts about it.
The one when you was arguing the most when they had us in the little hall, he had his hand on the gun, like ready, like. And then remember we always talked about the tall dude in the back that was like waiting on something.
All right, and it was like I wasn't trying to be like resistant. Hopefully, if I would have been put in handcuffs, I would have been so salty and like mad. Like I don't know what I would have did, but I would have had to sue them because there's no way. I was like, that's crazy. But you know what I just thought about? I thought police can't question minors without a parent present. Can they? I feel like they can't. Because they were really trying to like get us. Oh, you weren't a minor though. I was.
Huh?
So you weren't a minor. I was though.
I was an old grown man. Good.
But yeah, honestly, like that incident alone like changed everything for me. Like it, because for the longest time I was like, oh, I've always tried to give like white people the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, they're not like that. Like they're cool. Like I grew up, like all my life I grew up in like a lot of white neighborhoods, while equally very being like in touch with like my like black family and culture and like society. Like a lot of times, like I have family that's a lot from North Minneapolis. And I grew up in a nice part of like St. Paul and Mendota Heights at the same day. But like in the same token, I could go from Mendota Heights to North Minneapolis like night and day and do well in both of those communities because at some point I belong to both those communities and that's just my reality. Does that mean I'm a bad guy when I go to North Minneapolis? No. Does that mean that I can't come back and function in Mendota Heights? No. But again, that's my reality. So like I said, I grew up in a little bit in Mendota Heights, and like obviously that's a very white community, and a lot of people there. I'm cool with a lot of people there, and you don't want to see the bad like that in people. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. So like giving them so much benefit of the doubt while everyone's already like at the time like Black Lives Matters is a huge thing, and everyone's like white people hate. I'm just like a little bit neutral because like I know a lot of white people who've done good by me and who've helped me a lot, so it's like that's all I can be in this. So like I said, for that to happen was just like, geez, that's really crazy, and that's really already happening to people, and it sucks that it's happening, but it's like, what do you do? What do you do?
Just go with it.
Yeah. What odds do you think that that you're beating as a young black man right now?
A lot of them. I'm in college. I'm doing good for myself. I don't have kids. You know, like, never been to jail. Never been arrested. Not in a gang.
Right.
All that stuff.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think it's interesting for me because, like I said, I always think about even myself. Like now, I think that as a black male, like there's a lot of like black privilege. I like not literal black privilege, but like privilege within my own self. Not to say that like I could use black privilege to help someone, but I mean like I have my own privileges, like such as in my household, like I'm a black person and I'm living in a house with my dad. I have a stepmom and I have a stepbrother, and everybody's doing pretty well. Like I said, my stepmom has a master's degree, so it's like how many black males could say that their mom even went to college, and not like, no disrespect to this, and this is fine, and everyone has their own hustle, but like not to say like, oh, they went back 20 years later to get like a 2-year degree, like, and obviously that's some people's lane, but like the real deal stuff, like a real bachelor's degree or a whole master's degree, like that takes a lot of work. So like for me to live in a household where that is like the expectation, I'm like, okay, realistically at this point, I'm not beating too much of the odds of like, oh, I'm surprised you're not in the game, because that's not what I'm being shown. And I grew up around that for sure, and I could realistically go choose to be a part of that, but that's not where I come back to lay my head at the end of the night. And everyone in our house still could choose to be a part of those lives, but at some point that we made different choices, and that has pioneered everything, the structure of how we all do things. So it's always interesting. Like I've always like want to be like, yes, I'm beating odds myself, but I've always wanted to realize that at some point I do have a lot of more privileges that other people don't, or other black males don't, or black kids in general. Yeah, do you have anything else you think about race?
We touched on a lot of it.
Do you have any like examples of people being like blatantly racist to you?
Them police officers. I mean, my study hall teacher, but I don't think that was racist. He just told dirt. Yeah, no, not towards me.
Well, thank you guys for coming out to listen to our personal experiences of white privilege and how that has played a role in our lives, and some of our stories and examples of racist experiences that we've had, and how that has shaped us, and the different opportunities that we've had, and the different odds that we are beating today as young black men. So thank you for coming out to another episode of Too Smooth Podcast.
Love.